Ladies and gentlemen, if you can find your seats, our graduates are just about ready to enter the field. Check that, our graduates are entering the field. If you could take your seats, please, just for a second. We are going to need the center aisle clear. If I could have everybody out of the middle aisle, please. Sorry. Alex and Julia, bring them up. Bring him down, bring him down. Mr. Milne, wait a second. Good evening, and welcome to the Bromfield Schools 2022 commencement. My name is Scott Hoffman, and I am very humbled to stand here this evening as the principal of the Bromfield School for the last time. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge that we are here, all back together, spaced in somewhat normal fashion, in front of the beautiful Harvard Public Library, and that's something to celebrate. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the Harvard Public Schools, Town of Harvard School Committee members, and School Superintendent Linda Dwight, I am delighted to welcome the 2022 graduates and their families and friends. To now honor America, I would like to ask for our marshals to have our soon-to-be graduates stand. Would the rest of the audience please rise for the national anthem performed by the Bromfield Chorus. Thank you, Mr. Milne, and our chorus for that wonderful rendition. I would like now to introduce Harvard Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Linda Dwight. I hope everyone in the town of Harvard knows how fortunate we are to have Dr. Dwight leading our schools. She combines extraordinary people skills and clear vision with tremendous leadership. Dr. Dwight has been stellar as we navigated a global pandemic while also staying focused on helping our entire community grow as learners and as citizens. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Linda Dwight to the podium.
It is my pleasure to congratulate the students and families of the class of 2022 and to make special note of Mr. Hoffman's last graduating class. Students, you are full of hopes and dreams that inspire us. You should be especially proud of your perseverance and the memories and bonds that you've created in your time at the Harvard schools. Together, you are flying away from your years in Harvard to new adventures and destinations. Throughout my years as a school leader, the image of flying geese has held special meaning for me, and I would like to share that image and the significance with you that it might always remind you of your years growing up in Harvard. Scientists have made observations on the habits of geese in nature. The V formation they use for flight helps them to fly 70% further than if they traveled alone. Geese rotate positions, from leading the V to being part of the line. They honk as a way to encourage each other for long distances. And when one goose is hurt or injured, two others will drop out of formation to provide help and safety. When you hear the call of geese in formation, remember that you do not journey alone. The calls of encouragement from friends and family have helped you to fly farther. The unique position of others in the V formation has created lift and carried you as a class toward your destination of this graduation and adventures beyond. Like the geese, you have taken turns as the leaders. When some of you have struggled and needed to fall out of the V formation for a while, friends came alongside of you to provide support and comfort until you were able to join the others. Like the geese in nature, you are stronger together. Recently, Bromfield tutor Christine Zacherer reminded me of the connection of the passing of seasons with the flight of the geese. She wrote, "I have always viewed their fall haunts as a call to a new season beginning. I like to think our school year is likewise a call to gather on a magical journey together to destinations unknown. You have completed your magical journey together, and I wish you all the very best in your flight to destinations yet unknown."
Thank you, Dr. Dwight. Traditionally, and I am very aware of how much everyone in Harvard values tradition after 35 years, my remarks start with honoring our retirees, but since I'm one of them, it feels a little weird. Nevertheless, I would like to honor the other members of the retiring class. Working in education is a true calling, and each of our retirees this year have answered this calling with great skill and compassion. I would like us all to recognize the incredible contributions in service of the following people: Deborah Weiner, Sharon Carente, Peggy Zimmer, David Gilfix, Barbie Kelly, Jan Nurmi, Debbie Carroll, and Mary Zadroga. And then, although he is not retiring, I'd also like to wish Josh Myler all the best in his next ventures. Please join me in giving these outstanding educators the standing ovation they deserve. Thank you. A number of years ago, I realized that it was better to thank people before giving diplomas, because if the ceremony goes more than 5 minutes after the graduates have received their diplomas, everyone in the audience gets very restless. Please indulge me while I thank the many people who have helped the class of 2022 arrive at this moment. The teachers and staff at both Hildreth Elementary and Bromfield are not only talented educators, but also give so much time planning for student learning and social-emotional well-being. Your parents and families have continuously loved and provided for you throughout your life's journeys. And the town community has demonstrated unwavering commitment to our school system. I also want to take a moment to thank not only my fellow and district administrators, but also the school committee for their countless hours of service and help. Finally, I want to commend all the people who have worked tirelessly to make this ceremony a reality. From our custodial, maintenance, and secretarial staff, to HCTV, to the Garden Club, to the PTO and the Harvard School Trust, the student ushers, the Bromfield Choir and Wind Ensemble, and all of the people in the background of our school, from the people who made it their mission to make our program better. The program looks better, with better font, we can read it. That's a big thing. They all have critical roles, and tonight would not be nearly as special without them. While time will not allow me to list the many ways they aided the cause, please know how grateful I am that we're able to stand here this evening and honor our graduates in such a meaningful way. Your contributions are invaluable. Can we please offer a round of applause for all of the people who have made your journey in this evening possible. Well, here we go. As a number of people in the audience are aware, it took me quite a while to decide what I wanted to say to the class of 22. So first of all, to the class of 22, I want to thank you for allowing me to graduate with you this year. You've been very understanding about all that. Looking at you, I am reminded of just how special all of you are. You are a class that is defined by excellent academic and extracurricular achievement. Scholastically, you impress teachers and staff with intellectual curiosity, great insights, and the ability to not only recall important facts, but to develop skills where you can apply that knowledge to real-life situations. Outside of the classroom, we will never forget the 4th straight boys soccer state championship, the outstanding production of The Sound of Music, Refresh Days, the Giving Tree, clothing drives, wonderful band and choral concerts, and last but certainly not least, your true commitment to social justice. I'm done with that list, so we can applaud them now. The fact that you were able to accomplish all this while navigating COVID-19 and tremendous strife within our country makes all of this so much more impressive. You are a class of action, as was evidenced recently by the intense and competitive staff senior kickball game. While the final score might show that the seniors did prevail 11-6. Seniors, I have some unfortunate news for you. In consulting with the International Kickball Association, otherwise known as the IKA, we did learn that batting out of order, Peter DiNapoli, and the use of an illegal player, that would be Brandon Liswan, results in a 6-run deduction from your score. You can do the math and decide who was actually triumphant. Yes, teachers, we can celebrate. Boy, that went over big. Thank you, Mr. Jones. On a more serious note, one of the books and videos that has inspired me throughout my career is The Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. In many ways, tonight is my last lecture, so I hope you will indulge me in giving you some key points to ponder about living a happy, meaningful life. These are 7 tenets that I try to live by. First, put your family first. Make your family your top priority. Your career is important, but nothing is more important than family. It is no secret the importance I have placed on attending Bromfield events, but it is important to note that they have never come before key family events. Make the time for your family. Whether it is the joy of laughter after a funny moment, the thrill of victory after your child has captured a prize or accomplished a goal, or sharing in the agony of a missed opportunity or a family tragedy, spend the time to experience it all. An example is that while I missed playing in the staff senior game one year, a number of years ago, I did not regret the time spent with my daughter Kaylee at the Daddy-Daughter Square Dance 2 decades ago. I don't even think I stepped on her toes that much. I also don't regret traveling all over New England or even Albany, New York to see my daughter Jordan pole vault in college. The second point I learned from a colleague: time is a constant, and you can't make any more or less of it. If we know that time is a constant, then we need to use it well. Putting family first does not mean you can't spend time on your career, but it does mean you need to understand that you can't do it all, and sometimes you need to make some tough choices. Going on a Boy Scout weekend campout with my son Bobby was indeed more important to me and him than attending a state tournament soccer game. The time with my son, regardless of the outcome of the game, Bromfield won as usual, was more important. Therefore, the third point I want to make is that you can and should commit to a course of action. Some call a career throughout your life, but make sure it is something you enjoy. This does not mean that it will not be hard or there will be aspects that you don't enjoy. But you need to find fulfillment and joy in what you are waking up to do each and every day. It is no secret I do not like dealing with the bureaucracy of education, but I love supporting students, teachers, and a community to have the best school possible. While lip sync was exhausting to have on a school night, attending that event and seeing the tremendous school spirit was well worth the effort. The feeling of absolute joy was incredible. By the way, watch the tape. Hamilton and the rest of the acts truly rocked. Sometimes the extra effort that you put into your career can lead to something even more important. After all, extra time spent at Harvard Elementary School, that was before it was named Hildreth Elementary School, led me to meeting the most influential person in my life, Janet Hofferty, now known as Janet Hoffman. Thank you, Harvard, for introducing me to the person who completes me. My next point has been a key aspect of the Harvard Public Schools mission statement. Balance is a key for making a happy life. You need to balance your dreams with your well-being, having a healthy mix of activities that stimulate you, while also making sure you can take care of yourself is crucial, but maintaining not only your physical health, but also your social-emotional health. Quite simply, I am more pleasant to be around, and certainly healthier, when I am not only working, but also finding time for golf, walks with Nike, she had to make the way in the speech somehow, and being more physically active. I am hopeful that tennis or pickleball will become a bigger part of my routine in the future. I must also admit that this can be extraordinarily difficult, especially when the rest of life is taking up so much time, but it makes a difference. Trust me, it will make you happy. Fifth, it's perfectly okay to be imperfect. Seriously, give yourself a break. It is okay to not be perfect, because no one is. Similarly, always remember it's okay to ask for help. You will make mistakes, so look at them as a gift, since you can learn from them. But you also need to own those mistakes. Do not be afraid to admit that you wish you had done something better. No matter the situation, you're never completely alone. So please, seek out trusted relatives, for me, my wife, and friends who can help you deal with challenging situations. Realize that there are always people who are smarter than you. Don't be afraid to seek them out for advice throughout your life. You will continue to need mentors, so find good ones. The person who is hardest on you is probably you. I've learned that as long as you reflect upon what you've done and apply that knowledge to future situations, that is all you can do. It does not help to perseverate, so move on and continue to do the best you can. The next to last thing I want to emphasize is simple in message. Be kind, respectful, and responsible. When in doubt, when facing hardship, or when you've accomplished something incredible, be kind. The simple fact is that people respond more positively when you treat them kindly and with respect. In my lifetime, I have witnessed so many situations diffused when someone acts with kindness and respect. Along the same lines, continue to say thank you and be polite, no matter how old you get. Bromfield students have amazed me and others with their manners over the years. Just last week, the staff at Fruitlands raved about the behavior of our ninth graders and stated that they couldn't wait to have us again. I also can confirm after talking with administrators from other schools that Bromfield students are truly the only students who actually say thank you as they leave your office after being disciplined. Have a detention. Thanks. It's amazing. All of the previous pieces of advice lead to this final point. Tell the people who you love that you love them, and do not be afraid to express that love. As students, you've heard me tell you that I love you, and I've always meant it and never regretted saying it. I have one very poignant story for you. My dad passed away suddenly in 1990 in a freak accident. He was on a trip, and I remember that on the day he was leaving, I was working at a basketball camp and suddenly decided that I needed to call him. I hadn't talked to him in a day. I went to a payphone. Graduates, in those days, you could put a dime in a machine and you could actually make a call. I wished him a great trip and told him that I loved him. As it turned out, those were the last words I said to him before I got the call that he had passed away very suddenly, middle of the night. I am so grateful that I made that call. I now end every phone call and virtually every visit with my wife, my mom, my children, my siblings, by saying those three words. Even when I'm angry with their choices or in a group of people, I let them know and frequently give them a hug and a kiss goodbye. You're never too cool, you're never too old, and you should never be too busy to say those three words and give that kiss or hug. I promise, I've never regretted them, and neither will you. Class of 2022, I thank you for listening to me. As you go off to places bigger than Harvard, deal with problems more complex than you've yet faced, and meet people that bring you immense emotion, I hope you can remember these lessons. Put your family first. Savor the time you are given on this earth. Pursue your passions and make it a career. Remember, balance is a key for a happy life. It's okay to be imperfect, but own your mistakes, and be kind, respectful, and responsible. Class of 22, it has been an honor and a privilege to be your principal. I am so proud of all you've achieved, and I know you are destined to have great lives. You have lived up to the motto, there is no kid like a Bromfield kid. Class of 22, I'd like to end my remarks with three simple words. I love you. Thank you very much. The class of 2022 has chosen former Bromfield science teacher and department leader Deb Pierce as their keynote speaker. Mrs. Pierce taught all levels of biology during her 30-year career at Bromfield. She also served as the science department leader for the final 15 years of her tenure. Mrs. Pierce was known for her engaging classes and her ability to relate to students both in and out of the classroom. I know that her students and colleagues respected her knowledge, commitment, and total dedication to them and our community. Deb helped form the Science National Honor Society, brought AP Bio to Bromfield, and spearheaded the effort to renovate the high school science rooms. The Bromfield School was so fortunate to have Mrs. Pierce as part of our community, and I am honored to have her as a colleague and a friend. It is my privilege to introduce this year's keynote speaker, Deb Pierce.
Dr. Dwight, Mr. Hoffman, Mrs. Benoit, faculty, friends, parents, and most importantly, the graduating class of 2022. Good evening, and thank you for inviting me to speak with you tonight. 32 of my 37-year career in teaching was spent at the Bromfield School. It wasn't away from home. And when my kids were here, it was sometimes hard to tell the difference. I am honored to be back here tonight with you. Graduation is finally here. Another milestone, a time to rejoice, a time to look back on all of your accomplishments and to celebrate. Graduation also means commencement, a new beginning, and along with new beginnings comes change and uncertainty. If nothing else, these last 2.5 years have hopefully shown you that. Yet, here you are, each of you ready to move on in the next chapter of your life. No matter where you go or what you do after today, you will meet changes and face challenges. Some of these will work out and others won't. Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." You are a very talented group of young adults. You have resources, opportunities available to you. All you need to do is seek them out. Research your options, fix your mistakes, learn from others. Advice is invaluable, and regroup. When I was a kid, it was called a do-over. Nothing is permanent. Anything is possible. You have the ability to visualize visualize what you want, define your goals, and then try to make them happen. Whether you succeed or not, do not lose heart. Always be yourself and stay authentic. Herman Melville once said, "It's better to fail in originality than to succeed in imitation." Do not settle. Life's journey does not care at what pace you travel. Just don't stop moving. There are no guarantees in life, and time moves very quickly. You cannot let change, challenge, and uncertainty stop you from doing whatever it is that you want to do or accomplish. Someone once said that 85% of life is showing up. The rest is hard work, giving of yourself, and making a difference. As you move on in your lives, face change and challenge as an opportunity. Reinvent yourself along the way. Rearrange your ideas. Try again. Remember the do-over and make a difference. But as you do not lose sight of what is important. Your family and friends have helped you get this far. Their support is valuable and even crucial, and I'm sure that they will be there to help you as you move forward. I wish for each and every one of you a long, happy, and healthy life. I am confident that if any group of young adults can go out and make a difference, the incredible group to my left definitely can. Congratulations, sincere best wishes, and thank you.
We have a new tradition this year. This past year, our choral and band directors Andrew Milne and Craig Robbins created the Bromfield Alma Mater, which had its premiere at the high school and grade 6 concert in May. It is now my honor to cede the podium to Mr. Robbins and Mr. Milne, who will lead the Bromfield Chorus and Wind Ensemble in the performance of the Bromfield Alma Mater. Thank you. You've created a wonderful new tradition for future generations of Bromfield graduates. The student keynote speaker is selected by a faculty committee. Any senior who wishes to submit a speech is invited to do so. This year, there were several strong entries, and in the end, Katie Iacomini's essay was chosen. Katie moved to Harvard just before her 9th grade year and has been a wonderful addition in and out of the classroom. Clearly, she is an excellent student, as her membership in both the National Honor Society and the Spanish Honor Society demonstrate. She also left her mark on the soccer team by playing varsity all 4 years and captaining the squad as a senior. My favorite memory of her came after a very tough loss in the playoffs this year. Kids were devastated, and in spite of her immense disappointment in the outcome, Katie waited patiently for the other team to finish taking pictures with their trophies and stuff, and then walked over to the coach and other players and personally congratulated them. Talk about being a role model for other players. Her actions epitomized the concept of winning with dignity and losing with class. I am sure her speech will also demonstrate what a classy person she is. Please welcome Katie Iacomini to the microphone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hoffman. Good evening, class of 2022, my fellow classmates, and parents, families, teachers, and more. Today is an exciting day. I want to start off by saying thank you to Mr. Hoffman, Ms. Benoit, our guidance counselors, our lunch staff, our custodians, our student council and advisors, and most importantly, our devoted teachers and families. Without all of you, we wouldn't be here on this beautiful day celebrating the class of 2022. When I sat down to write this speech, I felt like all of my attempts at writing would fail to underscore just how auspicious our graduation from Bromfield is. With that being said, I'm going to try my best to portray its significance with you today. If there could be one word to describe our class, I'd say it would be resilient. Our resiliency is remarkable. We have been through so much in these past 4 years. Let's take a trip down memory lane. Just a few years ago, freshman year started, and we all ventured through the halls, typically trying to figure out how our lockers worked. I know for me, when I moved here from Somerville, I was figuring out a lot more than just my locker combination. I remember the first time I saw a horse barn while driving down Still River Road. I thought it was remarkable. I turned to my mom and I explained, "Wow, Mom, look at those horses." I said it with such immense excitement because it was all so new, high school and horses. I don't think Somerville and Harvard could have seemed more different to me. I knew that the people I started to meet here would be so significant in my life, and the horses would seemingly become less fascinating as I adjusted to the intricacies of Harvard, Massachusetts. Everyone here today made me feel like I lived in Harvard my whole life. But in reality, it was not long ago that I was crying in Sorrento's on Air Road after my parents put an offer on now what I call home. I cried because I couldn't imagine leaving my Somerville life behind. Little did I know I was going to embark on an unimaginable journey with people whom I now call my best friends. After freshman year, we came back for sophomore year. This is where not only did our lives change, but the whole world changed as well. Early on in our sophomore year, it was operating like a Toyota. Smooth, predictable, reliable, all the good things you want in a car. And then it was March of 2020. We immediately had many new vocabulary words and phrases. Some: cohort, pool testing, Zoom, mute, Zoom bombing, mask breaks, remote school, remote work, remote everything. Suddenly, we were going home for what we thought would be 2 weeks of no school. I'm sure we all thought, what fun. A nice 2-week break, wow. Were we wrong? This was the rise of COVID-19. The pandemic was hard for numerous reasons. Almost everything was different. We all had to learn how to use Zoom. Online learning was difficult when Zoom wouldn't work correctly. We had to utilize Google Classroom for every assignment. Being in lockdown, seeing the world become chaotic, and overall, being afraid of the unknown. Many of our loved ones were affected, along with many around the world. What was to come in the future? We asked ourselves this question every single day. The hardships we faced throughout the pandemic brings us back to the one word that describes our class: resilient. We got through the challenging times and persevered. We found ways to adjust to being at home, being online, and we adjusted to what we thought was going to be the new normal. I use normal lightly in this case. To be truthful, there was nothing normal about COVID. Finally, as we made it through what felt like to be the longest year of our high school careers, we ventured on to junior year. Junior year, we began what we have come to know as hybrid learning, some days in school and some days online. This truly brought our class closer. Oftentimes, your best friends weren't in school the same day as you were, but we began to become friends with everyone in our cohorts. As days passed by, our class became stronger and we became closer. Might I add, junior year is also the hardest year academically, and for our class to take this year head on with a new system at hand was not only impressive, but also rewarding. I truly believe that everyone in this class has the ability to do anything they dream of, no matter how hard or how impossible it may seem at first glance. Just remember in life, nothing is impossible. I'm sure Mr. Murphy can vouch for me on that, because although it was challenging for him at first, he was able to make breakout rooms on Zoom for group discussion. Now we have made it here, at the end of senior year. We made it through applying to college in a pandemic, without even being able to tour the college we were applying to sometimes. We made it through hours of studying, wearing masks, Jim Longlaw, 40 hours of community service, 3 state championships, shout out to our boys soccer team, the retirement of Miss Pierce and soon to be Mr. Hoffman, the first game of the NBA Finals, go Celtics, Tom Brady leaving the Patriots, and Jackie Bradley Jr. returning to the Red Sox. I'm not sure if I've emotionally recovered from Tom's departure yet, but I'm working through it. And the hilarious but thoughtful videos of our teachers lip-syncing to Old Town Road to try and bring our smiles to our face and make us feel connected during the lockdown. I especially appreciated Miss Russell playing the guitar in her video. I think she might be the next Jimi Hendrix. We made it through all of the good times and the hard times. Oh, and might I add, we made it through these last months afflicted and overwhelmed by senioritis. Now at the end of our careers as high school students, we have an opportunity. Now's our time to take on the world and to find and pursue our passions, to quote unquote, leave a legacy. William Shakespeare, who we have all read through these last 4 years, shout out to our rocking English department, once said, "Some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them." In life, we cannot always count on being born great or having greatness thrust upon us, but always remember that the opportunity to achieve greatness is within our grasp. Keep in mind that many of our leaders, whether they be social, political, or even a hero, started as an average person, just like one of you and me. Despite the challenges ahead and the mistakes that we will inevitably make, we find that the average person can achieve greatness, whether that greatness is recognized by the world or just a few. Remember, greatness is not defined by wealth or status, but rather leaving those who you cross paths with a little more happiness and a little more hope. Any setback you face is simply a setup for a future accomplishment, and to make your dreams real, first you have to have them. Everyone in the class of 22 is capable of greatness and so much more. If you take anything away from today, let it be to remind yourself that 1, you are resilient, and 2, you are capable of greatness.
Thanks, Katie. I knew you'd be outstanding. In a first for Bromfield, there are 2 valedictorians. As each of the next 2 speakers finish with more A's than I've ever seen, an extraordinary GPA of 4.29 while taking virtually every AP course offered. Each will offer their insights on this momentous day. The order of speaker was determined alphabetically. Our first valedictorian is Tiana Jiang. Tiana is a remarkable young woman with so many achievements and accolades. Clearly, she is a superb scholar with honors, such as being a two-time American International Mathematics Examination qualifier. Mr. Wass, does that put her in the top 100 in the state? Yeah, top 100 in the state. Rensselaer medalist and Dartmouth Book Award winner. Personally, I have appreciated her exemplary work as one of the school representatives on the Bromfield School Council and as the vice president of the senior class. In addition, she has found time to coordinate Bromfield's peer tutoring program and captain the Bromfield robotics team, and also help out with the elementary school robotics team. Finally, Tiana has done all of these things and more while being one of the best billiards players in the world. She is clearly destined for great things. It gives me pleasure to present our first valedictorian, Tiana Jiang.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman, for that wonderful introduction. And thanks to my enthusiastic fellow students, Bromfield's encouraging teachers and staff, all of our supportive parents, coaches, and mentors, Harley the service dog, and all of my best friends in the world for being here to support the class of 2022. I'm here to talk to you today about the past, the present, and the future. So I have something to confess, and I'm only comfortable confessing it now that I'm about to graduate in less than an hour. So with that said, I don't remember 80% of what I've been taught here at Bromfield. So there was a time in the distant past when I could name every US president and their political party, and there was a time when I knew what type of weather cold fronts and warm fronts brought, and when I knew the difference between a Taylor and a Maclaurin series. But if you gave me a test on any of that right now, I'd sit there and I'd stare and I'd try my best to remember what I've learned in my 7 long years at Bromfield. But what I'd actually remember is all of you. I'd remember that time that Grace Glazier brought an entire Wii console all the way to Washington, D.C. Or I'd remember when, during Refresh Day, a goat peed on the floor, stepped in said pee, and then promptly stepped on Sophie Thompson. Or I'd remember when Felicia Jamba, happy birthday by the way, I love you, discovered the maggots that my friends and I had been sitting on during our picnic at Johns Field. So now we've talked about the past. But what about the future? For me, the future has always been daunting, haunting, looming, intimidating, petrifying, and all the other big words that mean really, really scary. And I'm sure for all of you, it's something similar. You're probably at that stage where you're wondering what to do with the vast and endless store of possibilities and opportunities that is your life. Me too. Since the time I got into college, I've changed my intended major about 20 times. Everyone in my family is a computer engineer, and I grew up assuming I'd do that too. I just knew I'd study computer science, until I decided that maybe I was more interested in mechanical engineering. But then I thought that working for NASA might be cool, so aerospace engineering it was. But then, again, after a lengthy discussion with my parents, I'm now planning to study electrical engineering and computer science. but there's still a small part of me that wonders if my actual passion is in biological anthropology or art history. Many of you might be completely set on your majors, but there's still plenty that you're unsure about. For most of us, the future is like setting sail on the vast ocean, not knowing where you're going or what's ahead. So now we've talked about the future, but what about the present? Here we are at our high school graduation in front of hundreds of our friends and family, sitting on the cusp of one of the biggest changes of our lives. We are right smack dab in the middle of the past and the future. I'm sure we'll spend a lot of this summer reminiscing about all of our memories at Bromfield, but also looking forward with excitement and a bit of anxiety to the future. But here's something that I've learned at Bromfield. The past, present, and future all meld together eventually. Tomorrow, this present moment, this important milestone will be a part of the past. And one day, whatever future you're worrying about, college, trade school, gap years, will be a part of the past too. So if you've zoned out during this kind of long speech, here's the biggest takeaway. The past, present, and future. Strike a balance between the three. People who only live in the past end up holding on to what is already gone or trying to change what cannot be changed. People who only live in the future drive themselves crazy, worrying and stressing about what hasn't even happened yet. And people who only live in the present, because we always hear the saying, live in the present moment. These people, well, I'm convinced that these people really don't exist. And if they did, all of the parents and teachers in the crowd definitely wouldn't approve. Because sometimes, for the sake of our futures, we have to spend the time memorizing the US presidents and learning about the weather. So, the past, present, and future. To dwell solely on any single one will not do you well. So here's my advice to you. Reminisce about the good memories and learn from the bad. Think a little bit about the future, just enough to get yourself excited for what's to come, because there's a lot coming for all of us. So in the effort to capture my past, this present moment, and all of our futures, I'd love to take a .5 pic with my fellow graduates and with the audience. So kindly hide behind someone or something if you don't want to end up on my Instagram page. Ready? Everyone smile. Okay. So, as we graduate from Bromfield and go our separate ways to confront whatever really, really scary thing comes next, I urge you to remember the past, all of the precious memories that we've made together. And let's also take a moment to appreciate the present, all of the great memories that we're making right now. And in the future, I hope for each and every one of you that you'll continue making so many more. Thank you so much, and congratulations, class of 2022.
Thank you, Tiana. What a great message. The next valedictorian is Olivia Wren. Clearly, her academic record speaks for itself, and I will not even attempt to list her accomplishments. When one thinks of a school leader, Olivia quickly comes to mind. Olivia holds many positions at Bromfield, perhaps the most prominent of which is class president. I wish our current, local, state, national, and international leaders would take the time to observe Olivia work on behalf of her class. She could give lessons to those leaders on how to put the needs of her constituents first. Olivia has been tireless in her efforts to have the best senior year possible for the class of 2022. She has done this while spearheading service drives as a Project 351 ambassador. I know that the class advisors have only words of praise for all of the officers, but they simply rave about Olivia. I am sure her message to us will be memorable. It is an honor to introduce Olivia Wren.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hoffman, for the introduction. And thank you, students, family members, faculty, and everyone else who's here today for coming to celebrate our class. One thing about me is that I've always looked younger than I actually am. Okay, you know, not to throw her under the bus, but last month, Mrs. Keene literally said I looked like a little kid. I was drinking a pouch of jelly. Anyways. But I get it. I mean, as I've grown in age, knowledge, and maturity, well, maybe not maturity, I've never really grown vertically. So that's why when people talk about childhood experiences like growing pains, they're basically a myth to me. What's painful about growing up? The 18.5 inches that my height increased between kindergarten and today? At first glance, it seems like there's been a lot. Getting my tooth knocked out on the playground as someone was chasing me. Passing gas in the middle of a lesson in 3rd grade and having the whole class turn and look at me. Arguments with friends, toiling on my science fair project until 5 a.m. Stressing about the future. There are too many examples to count. As a class and a community, we've been through a lot together as well. College application season, tough grading periods, and literally all of middle school. I mean, I don't think any of us could forget this, but we are living through a global pandemic. After receiving that school closure notice on March 12th, 2020, we've had to endure so much. We couldn't leave our houses for months. We spent hours and hours on Zoom. How could I not mention the fact that our whole grade couldn't be together until a year and a half later? In fact, I didn't get to know so many of you until this year, and I just keep kicking myself at the thought that we could have bonded so much more if it hadn't been for this pandemic. But what I've noticed about our school is that despite all of these painful moments, everything always turns out okay somehow. And that's because the defining trait of our community is that we support each other during hard times and come up with ways to get by. Take the pandemic as an example again. When we couldn't physically be together, we still managed to celebrate each other's birthdays, albeit over FaceTime or Zoom. When we couldn't go to prom as juniors, some of us had our own small proms outdoors. When we couldn't use the fishbowl this year, we made the atrium and courtyard our new go-to spots. Yes, all of these alternatives were less than ideal, but we were able to make it work because we were together. I've also received this support firsthand. When I was in 8th grade, my dad passed away from cancer. It was, and still is, the most difficult time of my life. But even then, everything turned out all right because I had all of you. The moment I remember most vividly is when I came back to school after grieving at home for a week. I opened my locker to a piece of printer paper with "Much Love, Olivia" written on it in purple calligraphy, filled with colorful, supportive messages from my classmates. This paper is still in my room today. It was this period in my life that really deepened my love for this community. People often say that experiencing the death of a loved one is just supposed to be a painful but necessary part of growing up. Yet you made that painful time in my life into a memory full of love. So, even with all the growing pains, having all of you by my side for the past 13 years has allowed me to keep moving on. And I'm not ready for all of this to leave. I'm not ready to no longer steal Oreos from Mr. Wass, to no longer respond to everything Ms. Hyde says with, "Yes, Ms. Hyde," to no longer scream at and hug friends when I see them in the hallway, to no longer make finger having our hearts at Dr. Horton, to no longer have all of you as a part of my daily life. At this point, I've realized that the biggest growing pain is the pain of saying goodbye. I'm honestly scared for the future, for a time in which we've transformed from classmates who once knew all of our names and who could list random facts about each other, to borderline strangers that maybe like each other's Instagram posts from time to time. More than the uncertainty of whether or not I'll be able to succeed in college or have a stable career, losing these connections with all of you is what frightens me most. Truthfully, this might be the first time I wished that I was actually as young as I looked. Not because I want to relive my middle school years or because I want to peak in high school, but because I still want to be with you for a little longer. But as with everything else that has happened during my time here, I know everything is going to be okay. Even if we do grow distant, even if we do forget some memories or names in the future, we will always have a bond as Bromfield's one and only class of 2022, whether we like it or not. And that bond will connect us for a lifetime. Even then, I will miss all of you. No matter how much we've talked over the past few years, all of you have made an impact on my life in some way, and I'm incredibly grateful. So after this ceremony, please come find me and give me a hug. Growing up is painful, but it's been all right because I grew up with all of you. Thank you. I love all of you so, so much.
Thank you, Olivia. That was excellent. We have now reached the moment you've all been waiting for, the presentations of diploma. The graduates will be lining up with class marshals Julia Kimball and Alex Miles organizing the graduates. Can we give Julia and Alex a round of applause? They've done a great job. I would like to invite Susan Mary Redinger, the chairperson of the Harvard Public Schools, Dr. Linda Dwight, superintendent of the Harvard Public Schools, and Associate Principal Robin Benoit to help with the process of distributing the diplomas. I would also like to welcome the voice of Bromfield, Mr. Chris Jones, to announce the names of the soon-to-be graduates. Class of 2022, you will get your diploma. Come around, walk across the stage, as we said, it's your moment, make sure you don't rush it. And then go around and get a picture. Mrs. Ashakewicz will take a picture of you right there with Bromfield in the background that will be available to you as soon as it's all developed. And then obviously proceed back to your seats and stay standing until Alex and Julia say it's time to sit down. Dr. Dwight, I certify that the graduates before you have fulfilled all state and district requirements necessary to receive this diploma from the Harvard Public Schools. And I'm proud to help you present the diplomas to these members of the class of 2022. Mr. Jones.
I'm going to raise this mic, Olivia. Julia Marie Defoe. Peter John DiNapoli. Regan Elizabeth Donahoe. Samuel John Dunn. Natalia Grace Dukovich. Natalia is 5th generation to graduate from Bromfield. Paris Apsara Anglais. Erin Catherine Flynn. Juliana Marie Franklin. Grace Elizabeth Glazier. Camille Ebley Gomez. Rachel Lynn Graham. Sophia Elizabeth Gremley. Andrew Christopher Hardesty. Vanessa Maria Fontes Hedberg. Megan Caroline Hoggins. Madison Elaine Hood. Jordan Elizabeth Hoover. Mackenzie Grace Hoover. Lily Houston. Catherine Elizabeth Giacomini. Julian Hernandez Iverson. Felicia Irene Jamba. Tiana Yuting Jang. Christian Lancelotti. Adam Sebastian Latetsky. Sarah Ann Listwan. Jaden Liu. Stephen Liu. Aiden Shane Long. Catalina Isabel Laura. Caroline Ray Maiori. Andrew David Maycross. Julia Rose Mara. Maxwell Isaac McCabe. Ryan Maddox McNulty. Rebecca Eleanor Haynes Miller. Robin Elizabeth Haynes Miller. Cameron Jean Milliken. Monique Claire Morin. Camila Isabel Muller-Juez. Echo Munez. Daniela Munz. Maria Lada Mihailik. Megan Catherine Neville. Luca Mattia Strahonia Packard. Lucille Eddie Pritchard. Jacob Haliore Pulido. Lonnie James Kirian Jr. Margaret O'Hearn Redinger. Olivia Yefan Wren. Lorenzo Roberto Rojas. Marley Jean Roy. Nicholas Thomas Russo. Ashley Victoria Sampson. That's taking your time right there. Zachary John Schoenberg. Chloe Meyer Skornavaca. Logan Alexander Smith. Mash Somajira. Matthew Charles Stoffel. Sophie Madeline Thompson. Peyton May Rose Van Dorp. Kyle Edward Tracy. Garrity Emmanuel Valente. Jacqueline Shah Walker. Catherine Zhou. Jason Zhou. Jason Christopher Adams. Amlel Yassin Ekdaud. Lucas Henry Alexander. David Timothy Allen. Andre Jamil Anderson. Annabelle Elizabeth Ash. Cameron Michael Avola. Abigail Jane Baker. Shay Elizabeth Bala. Stelliana Nicole Bassi. David Olin Andersland Beckett. Kirsten Ava Bergen. Melanie Ann Botman. Patra Prasersri Bani. Michael Ambrose Bretz. Angelina Faria Brooks. Robin Ann Calabrese. Benjamin Curtin Carbonell. Annalie Yusan Carroll. Alexander Andres Castro. Bodie Ross Chadrin. Nathan Daishin Cho. Courtney Marie Clark. William Walter Connors. Adrian Sean Curtis.
Thank you, marshals. At this time, I believe our seniors would like the microphone for a brief moment in time. Could I have the officers come to the podium?
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Strap in because there's going to be a lot more thank yous today. And I would like to say that as we reflect on the past several years at Bromfield, a lot of appreciation is brought to the surface. So as student government, we wanted to help voice that gratitude to some of the people who have made our experiences at Bromfield as great as they can be through their guidance and support.
Hello, sunshines. And hi, dog. A wise person once said, behind every successful senior class is a great class advisor. There are no words to describe how much of an impact Dr. Horton has had on me and our graduating class as a whole. She's been the driving force behind every project we have taken on this year, including our class shirts, prom, and this very graduation. That's right. None of it would be possible without her. And the funny part is that you may not even know that, just because of how incredibly humble she is. But today, I want to put aside this humility for just 1 second so that everyone can truly appreciate the time, effort, and passion that Dr. Horton has contributed to us for an unforgettable senior year. During the times when it seemed like nobody was listening to us, she always made us feel heard and tried her best to help us through all the challenges that we faced. So I think I'm speaking for all of us when I say that when I grow up, I want to be like Doc. Thank you.
I'm gonna have to move the mic down. Sorry, Mr. Jones. So, hi everyone. I get the honor today to boast about one of the most amazing people there is, Mrs. Keene. Many of us, including myself, have been fortunate enough to have had her as a teacher, and I've also had the privilege of working with her as one of our class advisors. I can't begin to express how incredible Mrs. Keene is as a teacher and as a person. Her down-to-earth and understanding nature makes everyone feel comfortable and supported in the classroom. During Student Gov meetings, Mrs. Keene has always quelled our anxieties and kept us level-headed. Mrs. Keene, we all have so much to thank you for. So thank you for always having an open door and being someone to go to for advice, for taking on writing our college recommendation letters when many of us asked you months too late, and for supporting us in our endeavors no matter how wacky or insane. Overall, I think we all just want to say thank you for an amazing past 4 years, and we couldn't have done it without your tireless guidance. Thank you.
Finally, we would like to express our gratitude to the one and only Mr. Hoffman. Mr. Hoffman has been with us throughout all of our time at Bromfield, and he has shown tireless dedication to the Bromfield community. We are so grateful to have had him from his first year as principal through his last. We all know that these times have been anything but normal, yet he still did his best to make sure we had a memorable senior experience. Just to list a few examples, he and Mrs. Benoit sponsored breakfast tailgates for us so that we could have class bonding time. He used the principal account to purchase a 20-foot movie screen for our grade so that we could host an outdoor movie night. He frequently attended our class officer meetings so that he could incorporate student voice in as many of his decisions as he could. And above all, he made an effort to get to know each and every one of us, not just as his students, but as individuals with our own hopes and dreams.
Mr. Hoffman, since you are leaving with us this year, we wanted to give you a proper graduation as well. So we got you your very own cap, AKA we stole it from your office with Dr. Horton's consent. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much for everything you have done for us, this school, and this community. We're gonna miss you so much.
You're never bored in education. I also want to thank Julie and Kate for their incredible work with this class. You've been wonderful role models and have been true heroes throughout the class of 2022's tenure at Bromfield. I promise that the end is very near. At the conclusion of the ceremony, class marshals Julia Kimball and Alex Miles will lead the graduates out through the middle to the rear field. Graduates, after you take any pictures you want with your full robe and stole, please remember to give your white stoles back there. That's where Mrs. Niggs and Mrs. Nyland will be. They'll also have your actual diplomas. Yes, that's a blank card in there right now. Before we end this evening, I do want to thank Robin Benoit and Julie Horton for all their support over the years, the Bromfield faculty and staff for their stellar efforts in and out of the classroom, my fellow administrators for unwavering support and advice, the school committee and community for giving me the enormous responsibility and privilege of leading the Bromfield School, and clearly the students for being the reason that all of us do this vital work each and every day. I also want to wish the very best of luck and welcome to Ms. Kim Murphy and Mr. Stephen Green, who will be the new stewards of the Bromfield School, and it will be their responsibility to watch the weather for the month coming up to graduation. Can I have the class marshals step to the forward? Please have the class rise. Graduates, move your tassels from right to left. Class of 2022. Please indulge me for one more moment. No, you've earned this moment and so much more. Please know that the entire community is incredibly proud of you. Have a great day, an even better weekend, and the best possible life. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the Bromfield School graduate class of 2022. Lead them out.